Welcome to the Kung Fu Physicist podcast, episode 6. I am the Kung Fu Physicist, here to take the mystery out of Kung Fu and explain the science of fighting. Thank you guys for joining me today on episode 6. Today is going to be a very short episode. I don't know if you can hear it, but the summer camp is actually running right now. One of my instructors is running the camp for me while I do this episode. It's going to be a bit hard for me to do episodes these upcoming weeks because we will be running the summer camp. So I will be making announcements as to when I will be able to make these episodes. I think I should still be able to make about one a week. I hope so. Near the end of summer, I will be in Bulgaria, and I'm going to really try to get an interview with Sifu Bagalev. I haven't proposed to him yet about this interview. So if you're listening, Sifu Bagalev, I'd be really happy to do an interview with you, but I will reach out to him in the time being. All right, so announcements very briefly and quickly. First of all, big news. I have the interview with Sifu Angus, and I also have an interview with Great Grandmaster Leung Ting. So Sifu Angus has approved his interview, so I will be releasing that interview this upcoming Sunday. So that is Sunday the 11th. The interview will go live, or it will be airing. It will be on Spotify and on YouTube. So be sure you guys follow us there. And secondly, once I get the interview approved with Grandmaster Leung Ting, I am planning to air it the following Sunday, so that's the 18th. So those are my first interviews on the podcast, so I'd be really happy if you all join me for that experience. And yes, like I said, got some really good insights from him. Again, Sifu Angus is a 5th level practitioner. He's currently living in London. He's been training in Hong Kong for, I believe he said 26 or 27 years. And he is now working to set up a school in England somewhere. And he is just an amazing teacher. Just some of the stuff he was doing at the seminar, some people were just like blown away that this guy was just, he's like a freight train. Like when he hits you, like there's no stopping it. It's just so much power in his hits and so much power in his movements. It's just really phenomenal. So I hope you guys will join me for his interview. Again, I will be releasing it this Sunday, the 11th. Okay, so next up, I'm going to do comments. How does the fascia have to do with explosive power? The same guy asked me this on one of my YouTube videos. I don't have his screen name, but in the previous episode 5 of the Kung Fu Physicist, I answered 2 of his questions. But I didn't see this comment about the fascia. Maybe it was on a different episode. So, for those of you who don't know, the fascia is... okay, so I'll get a little graphic here. Hope you don't mind. For those of you who like barbecue, if you ever cook ribs or if you cook brisket like I do, there's this what's called silver skin that's like wrapping around the organs. Well, this is the fascia in people. So there's like this skin-like thin membrane that essentially wraps your entire body. It's like directly under the surface of all your skin. So his question was, something along the lines of, does the fascia have anything to do with this explosive power that I talked about in one of my previous episodes? The answer is yes, it does. Triggering the fascia in order to generate that power is super important. And that's why I emphasized in the other episodes that the point was to relax. The relaxing of your muscles, the big powerhouses in your body, right? The muscles are, we use them to do push-ups, pull-ups. We use them to lift things. The big muscles normally take the load of everything. However, there's ways to train other parts of your body which also generate power. So these 2 things essentially are your tendons and your fascia. Okay, so these two groups, non-muscle groups that generate power, can only be activated if you learn to relax your body. If you learn to relax while you're punching, if you learn to relax while you're defending, if you learn to breathe in a certain way, to untie your breath from the movements. Because a lot of times you can't train these organs, I guess. Well, the fascia is like an organ. The tendons, it's like part of the muscle group. But you can't train them because typically they're overloaded by the muscle or overpowered by the muscle. So you can't target them in training. But there's certain exercises and stretches and stuff that you can do to help actually train your tendons and your fascia to generate that power. A martial art that helps train that obviously is Wing Tsun, but the guys in the EWTO, Sifu Oliver, Sifu Thomas Schrun, Sifu Bagalef over there, they really have a good understanding of the exact targeting of using this fascia, and they can explain it really well. So maybe when I'm over there, because Sifu Bagalef also did a video on the explosive power, when I interview him, we can talk about that. So if you guys, of course, it's not when I interview him, I still have to ask him to do an interview. Of course, he has to agree. I don't want to overstep my bounds here. But yeah, I'd be happy to discuss with him. He's much more of an expert at it than I am. I can explain more of the science behind it. But he has more of a grasp of how to actually do it. My ability to use my fascia and generate the explosive force is, I would rate myself, I don't know, maybe 6 out of 10. I'm okay at it. I'm not super good. But I can generate that force, but just not as good as somebody who's trained that for much longer, because it's just like a muscle. You got to train using it. If you don't train using it, you can't use it. And if you do try to use it, it's just not strong. It's just not I don't know. It doesn't have that strength, that tensile tightness that you need. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. I'm sorry I didn't answer your question last time for that user. I believe it was Akbar M, if my memory serves me right, but look at the previous episode. I can't think of his name right now. So, on to today's topic, how Wing Tsun training, especially our Wing Tsun training right here at Wing Tsun, Illinois, can help kids with ADHD and ADD. A lot of parents are kind of stuck right now thinking about, oh man, how do I send my kid to therapy? Do I give my kid medications? It's really tough to have a child with ADHD and ADD. So, you're always looking for different options, what can help them? What's my best way to give them good results? Because you want your kids to eventually grow up and be able to learn a good skill and be able to function in a workplace and have a successful life. And it's hard to watch them. They're not able to sit and learn and be attentive to lessons. They're always wanting to run around and just not focus on what the teachers are saying. So the way that our program at Wing Tsun, Illinois really helps them is because we have active, engaging things for them to help gain their focus in the non-digital world. So let me say that again. We have active exercises and programs to engage them in the physical world, in the non-digital world. So a lot of times, kids with ADHD and ADD will have absolutely no problem sitting on their iPad. You could put them on there and they won't even stop. Let's say I gave my daughter the iPad and just let her go. And let's say she has ADD or ADHD, she could probably sit on there all day long for like hours on end, right? 9 hours, 10 hours, maybe only stopping, can I get something to eat, right? And they'll be tired and exhausted, but they're still going to want to keep watching that digital medium, whatever it is, whether it's a TV or an iPad or a game or something. So these games, what they do, I'm not saying this is the sole cause of ADD or ADHD, but it does exacerbate the problem. So a child with ADHD and ADD will not improve and will in fact regress in their ADD and ADHD when they are allowed to sit in front of screens for extended periods of time. I don't have any research in front of me right now because this is a short episode, but I could find the research for you that shows you that. And again, that's not the sole cause or root cause of ADHD or ADD. And depending what your child needs, it could be different. But it does not help the problem. It exacerbates the problem. So how it does that is that when they're focused on that digital screen, there's constantly images changing, and there's constantly an interactive engagement. Because of that, they feel excited by that, and it ends up giving them a little dopamine rush. And it's a sustained thing because it just keeps coming just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, and it just keeps going and going and going for hours on end. So when you can actually induce something like that in real life, in physical reality, they start to associate doing things physically with that kind of a rush, or with that kind of a feeling, a dopamine feeling. So we have this one drill in our program, for instance, called Laksao. And in this drill, the kids really have to focus on what we're doing. And the reason is, we don't punish them if they don't focus. Just what happens is, if they don't focus, they get hit. And it's not a punishment here. We do not hit to punish them. We are teaching them how to fight. And of course, we don't hit them hard or anything, but they do get a little hit, a jolt, if they don't focus. So then, as they progress through our drills, they start learning how to focus, and they start seeing the hands coming at them left and right, and they're constantly left and right moving their hands, moving their body, trying to engage and trying to hit back. And all of a sudden, it becomes kind of like a game where they're moving and trying to dodge our attacks, trying to hit us back, trying to find openings. And the key here is that in Wing Tsun, we have a special type of meditation called awareness meditation. And during those drills, they practice it. They don't know they're practicing it, but they are. And it becomes fun for them. It becomes a fun thing to focus and engage with someone else, right? They start associating focusing and engaging with a positive feeling, right? And so in that way, they start building a desire to focus and learn and sit still and actually gain some skill, right? And even though it's hard for them to do it, they start associating it with a fun thing instead of a chore. So that's mainly the main goal of our program. The kids learn to focus and have fun doing it, and they start associating that focus with fun. So then in their schoolwork, in their personal life, even though they have trouble focusing sometimes with the teacher, or they have trouble focusing even with other kids, and they can't participate in activities because they're still running around, before they associated just running around and doing whatever with their fun. And now they're associating focusing and learning something with fun. And so it starts helping them to push them in the right direction. We have several success stories within our school. I'm not going to share any details with that right now, but we do have some kids with ADHD. And perhaps we'll invite some of their parents to talk about how our programs have helped them out. And I would really be happy to do that. That is all for today's episode. Sorry it's very quick, but we're going to wrap it up, publish this thing. I have to get back to the summer camp. I don't have time to stick around here today. I look forward to seeing you guys very soon. Look out for that interview with Sifu Angus coming this Sunday, the 11th. I'll try to post it right around noon. And then the following Sunday, the 18th, I will be publishing the interview with Grandmaster Leung Ting. Look out for another episode from me next week on probably Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll try to do one of these still a week during our summer camp. But until then, see y'all later. Thank you for joining me on the Kung Fu Physicist podcast.